Let's talk about how no one tells these women the truth, because men very early on, it doesn't take long for them to figure this out, but they realize that the truth does not get them laid. The truth does not get them laid. Like almost every guy does this at some point in his life, especially because he thinks it's going to differentiate himself from all the other guys out there. I'm not like the other guys. I'm just going to tell you how it is. If women can do this experiment, it'd be very easy. They can do it for free. They can make like a fake profile on a dating app with some pictures of a guy, even like attractive men, and just change what they're looking for to casual relationships and see how many matches they get and what kind of responses they get versus if they say that they're looking for a long-term relationship. I think that probably 90%, more than 90% of men on dating apps are looking for long-term relationships, which is fascinating. Do I think that 90% of the male population at any one time is looking for a long-term relationship? Fuck no. But they learn that if they say that they're just looking to have casual, consensual relationship with another woman who's attracted to them, they don't get any responses. And women train them that way. Like if the truth got men laid, the world would look so much better than it currently does. Like, can you imagine? Like women actually do have the power to remake the world indirectly by choosing which men to reward with sex and relationships and under what circumstances. And let me tell you, if a woman got better at sussing out the truth from lies, which they're not very good at, because most people aren't very good at that, and just did not have sex with men who lied to them, man, we'd have a much more honest population, like very quickly. But one, women have a hard time differentiating the truth from lies. And two, they often care about other things more. They do. It's like, where would women hang out if they truly valued honesty above all things? Like, I don't know, charities? Where do honest men hang out? There's not that many. Where do they congregate?
Where do they congregate? That's a good question.
Maybe like philosophical clubs or churches. I mean, there's plenty of dishonest people in both of those, but like probably better than dive bars or nightclubs, right?
Well, see, I blame the dads.
Well, that's what I talk about in the end of that episode, is that there are exceptions. Not all beautiful women are nuts, but those women tend to have very strong male figures in their life. Fathers and brothers who were able to tell the woman the truth and bear her hatred, bear her insults and her criticism and her emotional outbursts because it was the kind of like the right thing to do, not just from the perspective of some vague virtue, but for her, it's the best thing to do because now she can become like a full emotional adult.
Those are rare.
It's rare for men and women. It's true. It's like chronological age has absolutely nothing to do with emotional or psychological age. And most of the people who are walking around, despite what their driver's license says, are probably between 8 and 12 years old. But if you accept that that might be true, the rest of society starts to make a lot of sense. You certainly can't begin with the assumption that people are just virtuous and mature. Why would the world look the way that it does? If you go the other way around, a lot of things make sense. Now, I do think that there's reason to be hopeful. I do think that the state of humanity is probably trending in a positive direction.
You think so?
I do.
Please let me go first.
Right,
I usually never ask the first.
It's our men
Please.
telling women the truth. Go ahead, Ameera.
Thank you. The reason I want to go first is because we talked about this yesterday. Remember, we were talking about being nice, and it ties right into it. This whole niceness and women liking lies over truth. And this has to go into it. He said that men don't like women, or they feel like they can't be honest to women, and it makes them kind of not like them. This is the reason why. I believe that that's part of the reason why a lot of men don't like a lot of women, but they have to lie to them because women can't handle the truth. Because once you say the truth, you're being harsh, you're being rude, you're being mean, you're a misogynist, you're a Trump supporter. I've heard that one, sorry. After that, That's the reason why men don't really like women, because you can't even talk to them real. You have to lie to them just to get them to like you. And then it is, yeah. And the other thing is that when he said that most people are between the ages of 8 and 12, I think that's wrong. I believe that women stop maturing at around 15, 16. I think that women's brains stop getting, we don't really get out of that princess mode for a very, very long time. And I think that women's brains suddenly pick up again at around age 35, 40. That's when women start to actually click and get logic. That's how I think. You may not agree, but I believe that women's brains stop for all through their 20s, partially through their 30s, and it starts to kick in again in the 40s, where they start getting more logical. And that's when men actually start liking them, because you can actually tell the truth to them at 40. But then again, at 40, they're not as cute anymore. They're not as attractive. So that's the problem. That's the dilemma that men face, I believe. So yeah. Oh, one last thing. That background that he was in, do you guys see that background? That's the same background that we use in courts to interrogate people for like murder and fraud. That same background. We use that.
Was that the software underbelly?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's his background. I got you. Okay.
And we use that for depositions and interrogations for like murders and like. But anyway, go ahead, Ash.
He was spot on with everything he said. I feel like men do tell the truth, but they tell the truth in the way that they treat you, right? So because women, we are more emotionally wired, women will cling on to what a man says, right? And they'll hear a man say, hey, yeah, I like you, you're beautiful, but I'm not ready for a relationship. And she'll completely cut out the fact that he says, I'm not ready for a relationship, right? And just cling on to the fact that she said, I like you and I'm beautiful. So men tell you how they feel about you and what they're ready for. A lot of times we just don't listen to understand them, or even watch their actions to say, to put two and two together. And I agree with that. I'm a big advocate. You know what I'm saying? People be calling me a feminist for saying that women actually shape men how to treat us. And I think that's 100% a fact. Because if a man, who said something? I didn't see that. I think that is 100% factual. If a man isn't coming to me in the way that I need him to, then I'm not fucking with you. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times, a lot of times,
what if you like him? What if you really like him?
What if I really like him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, elaborate on that. I can get it.
You say, all right, so say for instance, you really like the dude. It's just first sight, right? And you like, oh man, this motherfucker is an Adonis. Oh my, I want to have his babies, right? Pause. and he didn't come at you all that correctly, right? Like, let's not say like overtly disrespectful, but maybe it wasn't the way that you may have necessarily liked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that you're gonna be like, all right, yep, chuck up the deuces, I'm out?
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, man, nah. Especially if his deliverance gives me a weird energy, like a weird feeling, I'm gonna pay attention to that. I'm like, yeah, I ain't fucking with him. It's something that I'm not feeling. I was like, how he's supposed to. I do have experience, like just listening to what a guy sweet talking me, because I didn't really have experience. But as I kind of matured or whatever, and I started speaking to my brothers and my father, and they just was being real to me, like, nah, actually, he said he don't like you. You just didn't pay attention. He was, he said exactly how he felt. So once I started to like be quiet more, and I allowed the man to talk more, I just was like, all right, he don't like me. He just trying to get in my pants. Once I was able to understand that, a lot of guys kind of just dropped down anyway from just off my roster as far as like me not fucking with them.
So what if you just communicated with him how you wanted to be treated and he switched gears? Have you ever tried that?
No, I'm not doing that because I feel like I want somebody to be their authentic selves. I don't want to have to give you the cheat code to try to do what I'm asking you to do. Like either you're that way or you're not. I'm not
Like,
about to tell you what.
you've been married for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do know that, you know, there's times where we have to communicate that we may be treated a way that we might want to see change, right? And that we sometimes have to seek change and speak change into someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would that ever be a problem?
If I'm in a relationship with somebody, yes. But if I am first meeting somebody straight off the back and we're just like in the motion of talking, that's not my responsibility to kind of like tell you or show you. Like if we're like, for instance, Sweeney, you're not married or whatever. Using this instance, we're dating, right? And you're getting to know me and we're talking. I'm like, hey, yeah, I like flowers. Or you see how I move. Like you're watching my movement, you're watching my schedule. You'll get a sense of how I treat myself and you'll get a sense of how to treat me. But it's not my responsibility to try to sit here and mold you or tell you what I want.